Not today, though.
Not today, Satan.
All right, everyone. We're back with our second part of this Fear Street Halloween for 2021.
Yay!
Higher.
Sure.
We're back to dish about Black Christmas 1974 with our friend Midge Munster.
Hello.
Welcome, Midge.
Thank
Welcome
you
to
guys so
Fifth
much for
Street.
having me.
We're excited. So this is your first time on the pod. So
Yes.
number one, introduce the listeners and / viewers. It's weird to be live, but introduce them to your content.
Yes. So hi, I'm Midge. I do my tag is that I do all things campy, kooky, glamorous, and spooky. So we do a little bit of vintage, a little bit of kitsch, a little bit of spooky all year round. I'm a big Halloween dork, and I'm a newfound like horror lover in the last like 2 years. So I'm excited to be here to be sharing this with all of you. But yeah, I do YouTube, so that's where you can mostly find me, and I'm on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the horror fam.
Yes, glad to be here.
I love your YouTube.
Thank you.
Okay, so we ask this every time we have a first time guest on the show. So, what's your favorite scary movie?
My favorite is Jennifer's Body. That is the film that made me gay, and I love it. Yeah, and I think just in general, like my gateway drug was like horror comedy, like that more kind of kitschy, funny. I mean, even just things like Scream that are not like scary, that don't like stick with you into the nighttime kind of horror. And then this last couple of years I've been dabbling in things that are a little more dangerous. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so are horror comedies, are those still your favorite subgenre?
I mean, I like to laugh. I'm not a huge like, I don't love to be like terribly scared, so I think that's kind of where my sweet spot is. But I don't know, I've been getting into more like, I don't know what the word would even be, like kind of more experimental horror and really enjoying like things that are a little more psychological. I think I'm starting to delve a little more into that, which can be interesting, but also truly terrifying.
So you kind of talked about this a little bit already, but like, what is your horror origin story?
Yeah. Scared little child, scared of everything, always have been. So I think Sharai and I may have chatted about this before, but my uncle is Jesse from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Mark Patton. And so I was kind of brought up on like slashers. I was definitely a Nightmare on Elm Street like franchise child, and I've always loved slasher movies, like for sure.
Right.
And then yeah, like I said, the last couple years, I don't know. I honestly think the pandemic kind of like changed me.
Hey, I mean, right?
Like it was
everybody.
Yeah, I think there was like this weird, that's kind of like weird and morbid to say, but it's like there was this shift in me of like, well, nothing can be like scarier than this weird hellscape we're living in right now. And it almost was like this kind of grounding experience to watch horror films and kind of experience fear from a different aspect in a way I could control. And so yeah, that's kind of where my horror journey has come the last couple of years. And I feel like I'm starting to see it more as an art form now than I used to, because it was more of just a form of like, I watch them on Halloween to get scared, like, and now I'm starting to see like what all goes into a well-made horror, and what really like how we get in here and make our brains have that reaction and make it stick with you the way that some do. So
Awesome. Well, we love your uncle here on Fear Street.
Yay!
No,
And his documentary.
Yes, Scream Queen.
Yes,
Yes.
love it.
I was literally gonna ask. Yay!
Yeah.
We haven't covered it yet. Like, we might have to bring you and your uncle
Bring
back
me-
when we do
Oh
cover
my god, bring me back. Oh
Bring me
yeah.
back. Yeah, because Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was like one of our first episodes.
Yeah.
So that was before I'd seen the documentary. Sharai hadn't seen it at the time. But now since we've both seen it, I'm like, yeah, we need to cover the documentary because the tea girl. Man of the world. Anyway. So go ahead and plug any social media. You said your YouTube and give me your Instagram handle and all that.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me across everything just at Midge Munster. If you search me, I'll be there. Call my name 3 times.
Anywhere you're at. You have to be in the bathroom.
Yeah. You have to look into a 1950s compact mirror and say Midge Munster, Midge Munster, Midge Munster, and then I just pop up.
I have quite a few friends who can make that happen today. And you have an event coming up, correct?
No.
Never mind.
I had several this month. I did just put out my Halloween Spooktacular, so that was fun. I had a couple events this month, but no, I'm taking a hiatus next week.
Good for you.
I'm almost tired.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure everybody. I'm sure y'all too have just been.
God, yeah. No.
Everyone wants to talk to us in October.
Right.
Yes.
No, like I'm looking forward to like mid-November where it's like we get to breathe for a couple of weeks and then we get right back into it. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, speaking of getting back into it, let's get into Black Christmas from 1974. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's the math.
It's numbers. I'm never good at numbers. So, Midge, what's some of your first thoughts about this film?
The first thing I said to Sharai is this film can't decide if it is feminist or hates women.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I had emotional whiplash this entire movie. Just what? I did. I will say though, I kind of went in blind. I wanted to just go in and watch it impressions. And I didn't think about it at the time because I knew it said, 1974.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept thinking throughout, like, wow, this has this was so influenced by John Carpenter's Halloween because they use so much of that same. And then retrospectively, I was like, oh wait, this came out 4 years before.
Yeah. Right.
So that I think too, I was like, did John Carpenter watch improvements on Black Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I have so many thoughts. Where do we want to begin?
Right.
So much sexism, just casually there.
Yeah, let's start there because one of the lines in the I think it's the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't remember.
Oh, you can't rape a townie.
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw it and I was like, Barb, I wanted to like you.
Yeah. She looked at the beginning like she was doing like a bad Cinderella Disney bound, and I said, like Jess, I feel like I liked her a lot of the film. Like I knew pretty much from the first time we met her, I was like, okay, that's gonna be our final girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though people talked to her like she was a 3-year-old. Like the whole movie.
Yeah. But then like Barb was and Mrs. McHenry, like they were like the worst portrayals of women maybe ever.
Yeah.
Like so it's like, are these characters both written by the same people? Like, are Barb and Jess, how are they in the same universe? It was so weird.
I think it just goes back to men not knowing what to do with women that they deem unlikable. Because they're just like, oh, well, the virgin has to be like pure and she's gonna live. And anybody who like drinks or like is sassy, they gotta die. Oh, she's sleeping around, gotta die. And so instead of being like, I don't have to like you, but you can live, they're just like, no, unlikable, killer. So
I agree with that, Sharai. I think Barb was meant to be like the antithesis to Jess, like the foil.
But she wasn't even on screen enough to do that.
No, they didn't develop her. She was asleep for
she also looked like she was 47.
I I'm like, Barb is tired.
She was non-trad, okay? She was non-trad in this college.
Yes, she was.
She was a non-traditional grad student who was back for the 4th time after her 9th divorce.
And how she slept through every one of these murders, I don't know. Girl must be a deep
That's
sleeper.
one of my notes was like, how are they not hearing this? Because he's calling in the house and screaming.
Right.
And like Jess is just like, what? Oh, like
I come from a big family. You hear everything. I didn't know what silence was if I lived alone, and when I was an adult,
it was like an old house. Like you know, it's not well insulated. Like it's not. Yeah, that was so confusing to me once I figured out what was happening. I was like, "There's no way she's not hearing them." Absolutely screaming bloody murder.
Right, and the technology, like how was he calling from inside the house? Like, are
Star
there
69?
I feel like he lucked out and killed the right girl who had her own extension. That was a big thing back then. It's like, I need my own extension. I can't share a phone with these other girls. I have money. And so he was like, who has the money? She has her own phone, I bet.
The virgin, for sure.
Right? She's like, she has her own phone. I'm going to take her and take her phone. But the fact they just never heard him going ape shit, because he was never, and he was always
when he was
heavy.
Like, throwing things in the attic for 10 minutes. It's like, but yet she can hear her cat meowing.
Okay. This cat, number one.
Please, Trent. His name is Claude.
Claude. I'm very sorry, Claude. Claude. Was he just like trained by this crazy person in the attic to meow when he needed him to meow and stop when he didn't need him to? Or was this man meowing? I couldn't figure it out.
I don't know. I didn't even think about the fact that he could be meowing, but I think he only, the gist I got was that he only killed McHenry because she came up into the attic. I don't think he was like trying to kill her. Yeah. I don't know.
No.
It was a weird slow burn between kills.
Real slow.
He just sort of set up and was nesting. And I was like, do you just need a place to crash? Is that what we're doing?
Well, yeah. And like, I feel they kept setting up, and maybe this was like a suspense technique, I guess. They kept setting up scenarios where they pan in real close. And I kept being like, okay, this is it. He's going to be right behind him. And then it didn't happen. Like that guy like came in to tap the line and they zoomed in on him and the music built up. And I was like, okay, we're getting another kill. Didn't happen.
No.
Yeah.
Because God forbid we kill a man. We wouldn't want to do that.
Okay, so like first off, all the men lived, which is an issue with a slasher.
Except that one guy in the car. But I still don't know who killed him. Was he killing people outside the house? I was confused about that too.
It could have been a paper cut gone wrong. I don't count that. Like
he sneezed too hard and just threw his donut box across his lap.
Pain. But yeah, he was there. But like, and all the men are also really creepy, which is very realistic. So like, kudos for that. Because I was like, I'm comfortable with all of them, especially this fool in this giant fur coat. How many bears died for that coat? Why is he just running around in it? Nobody else seems to be that cold. Nobody else.
Yeah. And I did kind of love, in a weird way, that I feel like they set it up in a way that like all the boyfriends seemed like they could have killed everybody. Like, because I was like, that feels right. Like that
was the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Because like when they first show Chris, he's in that like horrifying hockey mask.
Yeah.
And then and then obviously Peter was the worst.
Yeah. Peter's the fucking worst. Like I have thoughts on Peter. So like first off, Peter is one of those like mid-level like artist boyfriends, like the starter boyfriend all of us have, where it's like, no, he's an artist. It's gonna be fine.
No.
He's that mistake she's making in college. And I'm like, I don't know how old she is, that's her own business. But anywho, like she tells him that she's pregnant. He's like, I have a recital today. How dare you? And then she's like, I'm gonna get rid of it. He's like, you can't just get rid of it. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
I thought you had a recital today.
You have a recital. You're unconcerned. Like she didn't ask you for your opinion. She said what she was going to do with it. Maybe don't go around sleeping with undergrads.
She was nice enough to let you know.
Yeah. No.
I wrote down the line she said where I literally like cheered at the television.
Oh, when he comes to her house to tell her
he said, "What are you doing to me?" And she said, "What are you doing to yourself?" I said, Make him take responsibility for his actions.
Right.
Yes.
I was like, this is okay, she can live. I like when he turns up at her house. He turns up at her house. Yeah. And is like, we're gonna get married. And she's like, excuse you? He's like, we're gonna get married. You're pregnant and you're not getting rid of it. And she's like, yeah, I still want to do things. And you had career ambition yesterday. So I don't know why you're here having this moment with me.
Well, he smashed his piano, so now there's nothing he can't.
Yeah. Does he own that piano? I think that's the school's piano that he just destroyed.
This is what happens because white men don't know how to do their emotions, and so they just like beat up all of the fucking stuff in the school, and they're like, "It's fine, my daddy will pay for it." And it goes unchecked.
Yeah, and then my girlfriend wants to make her own choices, but counterpoint: what if I trapped you for life?
Yeah, right. The only option is for us to be miserable forever.
Yeah,
I mean, clearly, right?
Yeah, because that works.
Oh yeah, so well. He was just the worst. And like, why was he? This was the other thing. So like, first of all, I would like to just say I feel 0% bad for the fact that she killed him. I don't feel bad. Like,
good for her.
Because like, even though he was not the killer, I am uninterested in that person. Like, he does not need to be.
Oh, 100%.
Bye-bye.
I mean, but he was a really good red herring because at first I was like, is he because like,
yeah,
but then he's not. Obviously.
I still think though, I'm not. Well, hot take. I was wondering if he killed the girl in the park and if he killed the guy outside the house. Because I don't think the killer ever left the house that I could tell.
Oh, so how did he know she was in the basement?
This is where I'm going with this. So why was he looking in the windows?
Like,
punching it in the basement. Just come through the front door, Jeremy.
Right? He was getting in that house earlier without her letting him in. So he couldn't do it again.
You were sleeping in her bed, and you got to come through a basement window. No, absolutely not.
Like, when he came to first off, I didn't trust him to begin with. I'm like, it's the boyfriend. He's trash. And then he was like, I'm going straight to this basement window because I know she's down there. I'm gonna kick it in because I'm not gonna let her hide from me. And I'm like, oh, good sir. Even if you're not the killer, this is toxic.
That's not a good look. No,
this is not how you meet your girlfriend, by kicking in windows in her house.
Yeah, like that's still a break and entry. Like you still committed a crime. Like bye bye.
Right? If the cops weren't worthless, they should have really pulled him aside. But they were worthless the whole movie, the whole fucking movie.
Speaking of Nightmare on Elm Street, I could not unsee that the lieutenant was Nancy's dad, and that's literally all I could see the whole time because I was like, you just have cop face, and I don't know what that means, but like
we could do a deep dive on all the dad cops he played in the 70s, 80s. Like he's everywhere.
He's the cop guy, yeah.
Yeah, he turns up in Halloween. He turns up in Nightmare on Elm Street a couple times. He turns up in this. He turns up in everything. He's just like, do you need a dad with cop face?
Right. And we should say that we did recently lose him, so may he rest in peace.
R.I.P. Yeah. But nothing against that actor, but just like every character.
He made his money. So like, I mean, no hate, you make your money.
No, like so many people have had lesser careers who have cop face. And they don't get invited to shit. But he did, because he seemed to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
He was the only one that I like felt mildly okay about, because at least I felt like he was trying, and he like at least was like, that guy seems like he is not treating that woman well.
Right. Like, wasn't he the one? Because at first the police were like, don't worry about it, we'll get to them later. And then he came in, he was like, why aren't you doing something? And they finally started doing it.
We have to talk about Claire's dad. Poor Claire's dad.
I don't know if I'm on the poor Claire's dad man, because like that man was creepy as fuck, and he was all about his daughter's sex life.
All the men were creepy.
But like, I feel like the dad had a moment when they were in the police station, and like, it was when Jess called, and he like overheard the conversation of Jess talking about these calls she was getting, and the guy like kind of wrote her off. And then I don't know, I saw the dad have a moment of like, oh my God, like, and they told me that my daughter probably just is shacking up somewhere. Like, it was like he had a moment of like, it's like people don't believe women for some reason. Like, I feel like he had an epiphany in that day where he was like, now why doesn't anyone seem to want to help these ladies?
I will say one of the moments that made me laugh was when he first shows up, and I forget the house mother's name, but she's
McHenry. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. She's showing him around. She's showing him into her bedroom, and there's the poster
Of
the
the
next,
piece.
and she like puts her hand over the butt.
Yeah, so much. And that too, like the like I don't know. I just don't ever think like portraying alcoholism as humor is funny. Like I don't like her having all these bottles stashed and like having that one in the toilet that she just pulled out of that disgusting toilet
can't
and
be
put her mouth
sanitary.
on.
No. Oh, that
That was the
hurt
scariest
me.
part of the movie.
I was like, you don't even know, lady. Like, it's just not that deep. I love a good drink, but not from the toilet.
Not from the toilet. We're all better than that.
But we're all better than that. So, this is like my second or third time watching this movie, and every time I go into it, I'm expecting it to be a lot scarier than it is. One, because it's so talked up in the horror community of being this like terrifying slasher, one of the first big slashers in the genre. But like, and to me, home invasion is terrifying. Like the idea of someone getting into your home. My doors are locked. I don't know why the fuck their doors aren't. But like getting it, like the strangers, terrifying.
No.
I wanted it to be something more like the strangers. But
I've never watched and never will. That is the one genre of horror I do not fucks with at all.
Scary.
Home invasion? Absolutely the fuck not. Thank you so much.
It's real. No, I think that this movie, especially for the time, was probably terrifying because again, like we've been desensitized. Like we've seen it all now. You have to literally appear in my house and I'm watching your movie and start yelling at me for me to be like a response.
Well, and something I noticed too that like there's really other than when they show Barb and what's her name? The aunt from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. That's her. When they show them in the bed or their bodies, that is like the only blood in the whole film.
No, there's not.
I mean, there's like no blood, which is kind of fascinating. Even I noticed when he stabbed Barb with the unicorn horn.
Yeah.
The first 2 times he pulled it up, there was no blood on it.
No. They used the blood sparingly. I don't know what the budget was, but they didn't have time and money to make more blood. So
it was $620,000. I saw that, which I thought was a really ridiculous large amount of money for the quality of film production.
Yeah. Right. I guess Margot Kidder was a lot of money. Yeah, Margot Kidder and John Saxon were probably a good chunk of that. Yeah.
And the house. That house was gorgeous.
That house was beautiful. Gorgeous. It was gorgeous, underutilized as hell, but gorgeous.
And very confusing.
You just showed that one staircase 16 times and like the phone.
I'm like, a lot of people live here, but it seems to be 2 floors and an attic.
No, there was like 2 floors and like a random
landing,
like middle floor. Because that's where he's like spying on Barb, but she's on the phone with her mother.
Well, she said at one point 12 women lived in that house when they're not on Christmas vacation, and I was like, well, we're not seeing very much of this house then, because.
Yeah, at the very end when it's showing like a full house, you're like, oh damn, okay, there is a lot to this whole thing. But you just showed me one staircase, right? And a weird landing.
No, they were just like, we don't have time to like do the whole house, so like pick your favorite stairs. We're gonna do that. Cool.
Joke's on us. They weren't filming in that house. They filmed the facade 3 times and then they filmed it in a studio with a staircase.
I mean, probably. Let's be real. That's where all the money went. And then when at the end, when the police are telling Jess to just put the phone down and get out of the house, I was like, girl, I was rooting for you this whole time. And now you're just like,
yeah, it's very rare that like we're not the only ones literally shouting get out of the house.
Yeah,
right.
No.
Like literally someone gave you the key and said, here you go, get out.
Like, I'm sorry, I get through your friend. Like Sharai, if you were asleep upstairs, you're probably dead anyway. I'm gonna get out the house.
Exactly.
Well, and especially because like moments ago she'd been on the phone and like heard Phyllis get murdered basically.
Yeah. Plus also, if shit's going down, we're not all gonna keep separating. That's only a horror movie trope. It is. It's like, no, people are dead. I have to go be by myself so I can be murdered next.
Yeah, I loved. Are you okay if I just go up to bed? Like, never have I ever, when I've been scared, been like, would it be okay if I just popped off to Sleepyville? Like, no.
I would have told her you can lay your ass on the couch.
Literally,
right
I'm gonna be like, you lay on the floor in front of me and I'll be on the couch, and we're gonna stay here all night. And
yes, eyes on everybody.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I'm going upstairs. I'm gonna go lay down. And it's like, people don't come back from upstairs. Have we not caught on to that yet?
Yeah, it's a very clear pattern.
No,
it's not hard to figure out.
It's the stairway to heaven. Like, we all need to stay down here.
I truly want to know too, because I mean, I guess you can't really tell when you look at the facade of the house, but like, poor Claire's face in the bag is literally looking out that front window. There's been 700 cops come through this fucking front door
and
in
no
2
one
days.
touches the house.
No,
because the cops are worthless. Literally, okay. So at the end of the movie, they find her in the basement with the dead boyfriend that she had to like kill because again, cops are worthless. They put her to sleep, drug her, and then they turn the lights off and leave her there without searching the house for evidence. And you would think they'd be like, we should check for evidence. He's been in and out.
Well, and also like Claire's still missing. Like, and we just found 2 dead women, and we're not going to look and see if maybe the other bodies are in the other 12 rooms that we haven't looked in. Like,
it made no sense. They wanted her dead. They don't want to do the paperwork. And they were like, if she's dead, we don't have a story to write down. Let's just leave. Because this man fainted.
Well, wouldn't she need, like, I would think, at least maybe this is the modern day. Like, she would go to the hospital.
Like, at minimum, she's in extreme shock.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, at best.
Laurie Strode went, and all she had was like a cut on the arm. So why doesn't she get to go? This is dramatic.
Right, she was put to bed. Good night.
That was wild. I literally, again, yelling at the television. I was like, why? They're not leaving her. They wouldn't leave her. Oh, they're leaving her. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, they're leaving.
So do we think she lived? I don't think she lived.
I don't think so.
No, they left her alone in a dark house, drugged, so she couldn't even defend herself if she
couldn't even fight back. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No, even the killer's like, this is too easy. I might take a nap. I'll
come back. They said I have till tomorrow afternoon.
Right. I don't understand how you just leave her in the dark. Because again, the last time you saw her, she was like, I just killed a man and I'm not okay. And you're like, turn the lights off on her and put her to bed. Let her wake up when she wakes up and figure it out.
Too, like, even though they think that Peter killed all the women, like, she still killed him. So at minimum, they would like put her in a hospital just to like kind of have her in custody to question her.
Right.
Like, they're not just gonna leave her alone. Like,
no. Hi. You let me be in a house and 2 of my friends are filleted upstairs. I'm not gonna get to stay in the house tonight. I'm gonna be at the police station answering questions whether or not I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, so I don't like the ending because, and normally I would be okay with like an open ending where you don't really have all the answers, but there's so much that I don't understand about this killer. Like, who is Agnes? Who's what is
Billy?
This?
I mean, he's Billy, but
I'm assuming he's Billy.
We think he's Billy. Yeah.
And that's
like, I think they really put too much character development into him to not explain it. Is what I completely agree. Like, I like the ending. I don't, but like, if you were gonna end it that way, then make him like a silent killer. Don't give us all this backstory that we have no context for.
Like, okay, for example, I keep going back to this movie, which I know you haven't seen, Midge, but like The Strangers, they have no character. They are they're killing people.
They said, because you were home.
Because you were home.
And I lived. We need killers to say less. That's my platform. I'm running for office.
Right. Unless you're going to pull like a Scream and they're gonna tell you,
give me a 20-minute.
This is my motive. This is why I did it.
Yeah. No, I find it scarier when we don't know, because like so many people are just like out there who are just like ready to pop off, and that's terrifying. And that's every day because we live in America and nobody gives a shit about our safety. And so I'm fine with him in the attic being like Billy Agnes, and then running down and killing people. But like, it just, I don't know. I felt like it was like, let's play with these like obscene phone calls. That's something that happens, especially before caller IDs. And let's like make it creepy but also it got too spicy, and I'm like, I want to know. I want to know things that I don't need to know, but you put them out there, so now I want to know them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and I mean, he definitely like. I mean, I guess because of the work with like just showing the eye or the shadow or whatever, like I kept kind of relating it to Halloween and thinking like Agnes was a sister or something. Like that was kind of where my brain kept going, but we don't. I guess we don't really know.
Right. And like because I also like the idea of only showing a little bit of him to make him kind of seem like he could be anybody.
Yeah,
that's scary too. But then don't bring in all this Agnes and Billy and suck my fat cock and you don't need all that.
I was like, does he have Tourette's? Is that what we're doing? Are we making fun of people who have Tourette's? Because he was just like fat cocks, juicy cocks, pig cunts. And I was like, good sir. Good sir. Your breathing was enough. You can say less.
Your breathing was enough.
Yeah, I don't know about him.
He's not right.
I
was assuming because I guess again I'm like making up stories in my head. I was like, okay, like he's got like multiple personality disorder or like something where because he was doing all the different voices, but then like sometimes I thought he was doing voices.
He needs to be a voice actor. That man needs to be a voice actor.
He would have killed in radio.
Yeah. He didn't need to go to radio to kill. He was already doing it. But like then they kind of play in later with him during the Phyllis scene. Like I don't know if he was. I kind of got the like just that he was like kind of assaulting her when he was in her room, and so then I was like, have all these calls like was it actually him doing voices or was it all like him hurting women? I was kind of confused about that.
Yeah. It gets really murky. It's one of the things that I wish that we had explored because again, he's just like in the attic nesting and coming down to kill people randomly. Like, How is he feeding and getting water? Is he not going to the bathroom? Like, I have questions.
Also, okay, so was Janice the little girl dead in the park?
Yeah.
Okay. That was murky for me too. I was like, how does this, because they're looking for Claire, I thought. Then they started saying Janice. And I was like, who the fuck is Janice?
But they don't explain it. There's no connection technically. And that was really confusing. And that's why I thought maybe it was supposed because I don't think, let's call him Billy. I don't think Billy ever left the house. So I was like, did Peter go on like a rampage? Because it happened the same night after he smashed the piano and walked to Jess's house and was hiding in the trees being a creep.
Right. So, or did Billy kill Janice before he got to the sorority house?
I guess we do. I forget
case, why is Janice missing for 2 days before anyone's like...
Because the cops don't care.
True.
This is the theme of the film. Yeah. It's that the cops said, oh, your daughter's missing? She's probably having sex because she's a dumb whore. Like... They're like, sir, she's 12. And they're like, I know what I said. Like, that's the theme of this movie.
It really is.
The only smart people in this movie are those old ladies that are with the carolers, because she comes up there and she's like, get those kids in the car now, we're leaving.
Listen. So you know what I'm not going to do? Get stabbed.
Well, and I think, too, that's why I kept waiting for them to explain the connection, because, like, 5 people come up to their freaking front door and were like, did you hear there was a girl murdered in the park last night? Like, yeah.
There's 3 upstairs.
I hate that. That's scarier than me finding out on the news to be like, knock, knock. People are dying out here. You know that, right?
Yeah, some random white dudes showing up outside your window with guns. Like,
oh,
no.
my God.
That's more terrifying than whatever's happening in the house.
Can we talk about that whole scene? What was happening? And why did Phyllis say their dog had died and then laugh hysterically for like 20 minutes?
Phyllis really hates dogs.
I thought, okay, can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
I thought when Jess called Peter at the beginning of the movie, she's like, I'd like to talk tomorrow. I thought Phyllis and Jess were lesbians because they were, the whole first 3 scenes were like,
right?
Like at each other, and Jess is wearing this like titty sweater.
I thought the same thing. I was like, clearly these 2 are a couple. And then Peter was there and she was pregnant. And I was like, oh, I misread this.
Didn't Phyllis wasn't she with Santa Claus Man?
Was she?
Yeah, she said she was.
I did not catch that. He was disgusting.
Right.
No.
What happened to him too? He just kind of disappeared. He just kind of said, "Bye."
He was literally, there was no point in him being there. They were just like, we want to reiterate that all the men in this film are horrible, but also somehow we hate women. Like, like men, no. Women, no.
One of the things that is right about this movie is the hand sweater.
Sweater.
I'm excited because I ordered one because somebody in the horror community on Twitter makes them, and she was selling them for like $90. So it's gonna be the most expensive piece of sweater I've ever had. I will have to be buried in this sweater because I don't own anything else expensive. But it's coming. I have to find a yellow shirt, and I'm happy because apparently I'm in my hand sweater phase between this and Scare Me. Like that's all I want is hand sweaters that are bigger than me. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, just nothing says I'm a lesbian like a sweater with hands cupping your tits.
Right.
And then when she was pregnant with Peter's baby, I said, this is not going where I thought it was going. I was really ready for a progressive lesbian love story in the 70s, and I didn't get it, and I'm really sad about it.
No, it was time. It was definitely time.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she went upstairs to help Phyllis, because she was like, "I love her."
She said, "Baby,
I can't live without you."
Right.
She actually used Peter to conceive her and Phyllis's child, and she's going to run off. They're going to start a lavender farm in Switzerland.
Right. She was lying about getting rid of it. She just didn't want him to be around.
She said, Peter, I want nothing to do with you.
She was like, years from now, I'm going to create social media, and I don't want you to have questions. So I'm just going to. You never know, I'm getting rid of this.
I would be like, I don't want to have I don't want a child with your attitude, Peter.
Listen.
You don't own me.
This is why you can't sleep with mediocre white men, which is a lesson I had to learn over and over again.
Same. It's a life lesson we all have to learn at some point.
It is. No, their mediocrity is like glitter, and it just stays with you for so long.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Peter was the worst.
He is the true villain. I know that Billy, Agnes, whoever that person is in the attic nesting, has done some shady things in this movie. I can't deny that. But Peter's the real villain, and that's what I'm gonna do as the defense for the person in the attic.
Yeah. Well, and I wrote something down in my notes, and I don't know exactly what I meant by this, but I said all the murders really downplay the fact that Peter is the fucking worst. Like,
I actually kind of wanted Peter to be the killer.
I feel like the murders were not the worst part of the film. Like they were detracting from the fact that this woman was in an abusive relationship, and I was like, I need to focus on this. Like, I need her to get out of the house for this situation.
No, he's the most toxic, and he is the embodiment of everything that was wrong with like relationships in that era. Because men were just like, "You're still my property. You can have a bank account." So of course you're gonna have this baby. We're gonna get married because I said so. Also, I'm miserable now, so you need to be miserable too. And I'm like, that's not a love story. That's not.
No.
I wonder if the reason why Jess was so awesome was the fact that she is clearly, by her accent, not American.
I told Taylor, I said, "Is this the fifth member of ABBA?" I couldn't figure. I could not figure out what her dialect was because I thought she was British at the beginning, and then she started talking, and I was like,
I couldn't figure it out either.
Yeah, no, I was confused. I googled the actress the first time I watched it to be like, where is she from?
I'm doing the same thing right now to be like,
what is going on? I'm doing it again.
It said Argentina, I think, when I looked it up this morning.
Argentina? What?
English actress.
She's English.
Yeah.
She has not aged.
No. I guess like good genes because she's 70 and looks better than me. That's an issue I have with her and Cassandra Patterson because like Elvira showed up and she's getting younger and I was like, ma'am, I need you to look older.
Because she's gay. That's why.
Is that the secret? Is that why I'm aging?
The love of no mediocre white men and no children. She said, "I am ageless."
Right? She's like, you can eat vegetables or just like get rid of those men. Like, if they don't disturb your peace, you age slowly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it says here she moved to England at the age of 7. I can't tell where she was before that, but
Yeah.
Argentina before that.
Yeah, like So a weird combination of dialects that made her sound like she was going to be on Eurovision later.
It sounded like she was doing an impersonation of someone from Connecticut for SNL.
She said, "This is what wealthy people sound like."
Right? She's like,
I am in a sorority.
Give me my sweater.
Give me my hand sweater.
The only time that I was like on Barb's side was when she was drunk as hell telling off Claire's dad about the turtles.
Sex turtles.
Sex
Even that though, I was like, what was the point of depicting her this way? What was
There's
the
no
point?
point, but it was real funny.
No woman has ever gotten drunk. Well, I don't know.
I just wanted Michael Kidder to say some wild shit. They were just like, that was their goal, is to have her here and have her say the wildest shit possible. Right. That's why she gets the line about townies.
When she said, you know how I know? I went to the zoo and watched them.
And then something about, I took a break to watch the zebra. Barb, are you the killer? Like this?
And all the other girls were like, Barb, just go to bed. Just go to bed.
It gave me the impression she does this like every night. She just gets lit and it's like, turtles have sex for 4 days. And they're like, not again.
Barb, it's bedtime. Here, take your inhaler and go to bed.
Her wreath on her door that was like a Christmas wreath with little bourbon bottles all over it. I was like, we get it. She's an alcoholic. Like, ha 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 ha.
And she's clearly trying to cope with her mother who wants nothing to do with her. Like,
and like when they woke her up from her dream and gave her inhaler, and she was like, I had a terrible dream. There was a stranger in my room. Then she's like, I would be lucky if there was a stranger in my room.
And then she falls back asleep in like 2 seconds. Like, I'd be lucky.
Like, literally never has any woman been afraid that someone just broke into their room and been like, that would have been so sexy. Like,
never.
No. Never. I was like, if that's what she's into, we need to unpack that because right now it's falling flat. We need her to go ahead and be like,
everyone.
Yeah,
we need a villain origin story on Barb.
Right?
You know what would stop all of this from happening? Therapy for everyone involved.
Listen, they should have opened up one of those rooms they were never going to use. I just had a therapist moved in, like in Ted Lasso. Like, Sharon changed everything for them, and she can do it again.
She can do it again.
All right. Do we have any more notes before we get to hot takes?
Oh.
I will say that I think that this is definitely the best parts of When a Stranger Calls, because after we found out the calls came from inside the house, that movie goes downhill very quickly. And so I don't know why we can't just have like that little segment, make it through a full movie where we have that same tension the whole time. Because this is as close as I've seen us get, including the When a Stranger Calls remake fiasco. And I just want that little isolated section. Maybe it just needs to be a short. Maybe that's what we need to do, is not making full-length movies with that being part of the like ingredients.
Yeah. I do think it was the effectiveness of like them having to track the call with whatever that ridiculous machinery was to prolong the situation. I was like, oh, this is why this trope worked like in the 60s and 70s, is because nobody could trace a goddamn call, where now it's like ring ring ping, oh, it's coming from inside your house, and it's a 2-minute like Instagram reel.
Right? No, him running to the basement and like running through the aisles looking for the right whatever the fuck it is, and I was like, how do you even know what's what? There's nothing.
Like, what are you looking for?
Right? And I love the conversation she has with the detective. He's like, it's coming from this address. Like, that's where the calls are going to, dummy.
Yeah, dumb.
It's like, they're also coming from there though, sir. Oh shit.
That was another thing too that bothered me when he called Jess, and he was like, "You're really gonna have to do better and keep them on the line longer." I was like, "How about we stop traumatizing this woman and one of y'all go sit in the house and take the calls?" Okay.
Like, they gave her no protection. And
No.
the one time they did, it was one guy. That's another trope I hate in horror movies. They put one cop outside, and then look, the person kills that cop.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we have somebody there. Clearly, one is not enough. Like a Pringle. You need more. You need more.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, cops. All right. Are we ready for hot takes?
Let's get spicy.
Hit it.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get spicy. Midge, you go first. What's your hot take?
Just that, again, mostly that this I don't understand what was happening with the trying to create a really feminist final girl in a world like a microcosm of we hate women. I mentioned to Sharai right before this that I was going to bring this up. I just finished a book that is called The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix.
I need to read it. Oh, I want to read it so bad.
Oh, and when you do, call me, because I just realized whilst I was watching this film that one of the main character in that book is based on Black Christmas, because all the girls are based on final girls from different, but it's big franchises like Scream, Halloween, of course. I almost said Camp Crystal Lake, Friday the 13th
thing, yeah.
But yeah. But the kind of joke throughout the book is that the main character is not a real final girl. And I'm realizing now she's based on Black Christmas. But even like my problem with the book, which I would love to hear if you read it, is that it's the same scenario where this writer, Grady Hendrix, I have read 3 of his books now because I like his writing style, the visual aspect of it. But he writes from a female perspective and tries to make like feminist horror, but he does it in the worst way and like uses it to act out like weird aggressions on women, especially people of color. And like this thing of, because horror has so much potential to be a genre that is about empowering women in a world that is horrifying to be a woman, especially like women already, but then any kind of like trans women, women of color, anything above that, horrifying. So like the genre has so much potential to make commentary about that, and yet we keep getting these pieces from white men pretending to do feminism, but actually just being aggressive at women and making it like entertainment. And I hate it, and I'm mad. Like, that's all.
Every day, because you'll put something on and it's like, oh no, why is he writing this rape revenge fantasy? You told him to do this.
Yes.
And I
think y'all talked about in the you did the episode about Happy Death Day. Was that or
I wish
was the one where they switch bodies?
Freaky.
Oh yeah, freaky.
Yeah. And like the sexual violence in that film, like why was it necessary?
Yeah. We didn't need it. We did not need it
because
it was a fine time. We were having a good time in high school again, and then it was like, and I was like, no, when you do that, that's your movie. Just so everybody's clear, you can't sprinkle that in like a spice.
Nope.
It irritates the fuck out of me because it keeps happening. Because we don't let femmes write anything. When you find something written by a femme, it's like you find a unicorn. And if she writes it, she doesn't get to direct it usually. Or the producers are there being like, you know what you need? Less women.
You know what would make this better? 100% less women.
Right, just let the men redo it for you, the lady. And so like we never get it handled. Which is why, like, when you do find a movie, you are like drawn to it, like Promising Young Woman, like finally letting a woman handle that narrative. And it wasn't like graded, and it wasn't like gratuitous. It was just like, you know what's happening.
That is the only rape revenge film I've ever enjoyed.
Yeah.
And enjoyed is a weird word to say, but I whatever.
Appreciate
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think just baseline, my takeaway in general in this whole genre is like, for a genre built on the backs of women. Like on the stories of women, it treats women so poorly. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing it. And Black Christmas tried it, but they didn't do it. And
I'm excited for you to see the remake or reimagining or whatever they're calling it, because it's done by women and it is somehow worse. It's somehow worse. Yeah.
Yay!
So I went into it and I was like, oh no. And I became the meme of like putting on the clown makeup because I was like, oh no. I did this to myself.
I like parts about the remake and I don't like parts about the remake. Same with this film. There are parts I like about it and there are parts I don't like about it.
Yeah.
I did like the concept. The ending, like I like he's still in the house. Like that was a cool thought of the red herring killer and things. It just the execution wasn't there for me.
Yeah. I agree. 100%. Sharai, what's your hot take?
My hot take is I love the ending, but I also want the world and where we acknowledge Peter did this shit. Because Peter did this shit. Like, they decided the last minute he didn't. And that's why the ending has a couple of, like, little glitches. Let's just have a world where the boyfriend did it. He can be a wealthy white man who's murdering people. That happens all the time. Has nobody been on Bumble lately? The FBI are also looking for the same dudes. So, like, let it happen.
Justice for Gabby Petito. Let's just let's make a law that says the boyfriend probably did it. He can't leave the state.
Right? Let's go ahead and sit down with him first and then move on from there.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, oh no, we don't know what it is. It's like it's this wealthy white man in the giant fur bear coat. Who has secrets. I think it's him.
Jokes on oh my gosh, what if Billy in the attic is actually Chris and Chris and Peter were in it together?
Ooh, like Billy and Stu from Scream before Scream.
Oh,
I see that. He was like, "You will not marry my man."
This is like Black Christmas. Let's just make Black Christmas. Just make it real gay.
It can only help. Yeah.
I need 100% more gay horror.
1,000%.
I need it. Give it to me.
Yes.
And intentional gay horror.
Yeah.
Not just like we have to read into this.
Yeah.
Maybe fine.
Not just Phyllis and Jess looking at each other like, give it to me. Give me the lesbian love story.
Yes.
Like, I see that problem with movies a lot. Like last year's Wonder Woman. I was like, they're on a date. And then she's like, no, Steve's back. And I'm like, no wonder Kristen Wiig's character flipped out because you ghosted her after one date. I also would look for you.
I would be very upset. Yes.
Right?
I thought we had a nice time.
Right? I was like, yes, Wonder Woman's gonna be gay. And they were like, no, just kidding. It's still Steve's movie. And I'm like, how many times must we kill him? How many times must we kill him before she gets her own movie in her universe?
Couldn't be Marvel. Couldn't happen.
Never.
True. All right. So my hot take, we've kind of talked about this already, but like, this is the loudest killer in horror history. Name me another killer in a horror film that's like, like, where are the neighbors in this community? Like,
Michael could never.
Where are the other sorority houses? Where are the fraternity houses? Are they all just drunk asleep like Barb? Like, this killer is loud.
He wants to be seen, and nobody wants to see him. Like,
that's really too. Like it's like he wanted them to find him. I think.
Yeah.
He took the bodies up in the attic with him. He wants people to know what he did.
Can they not smell those bodies?
At one point on the phone, doesn't he say, "Please stop me"? Or
yes, which was actually the alternative title for the film, by the way.
Ooh.
Please stop me.
That was the original working title. Was "Please stop me."
I mean, they should have listened.
Or "Stop me." I think it was either "Please stop me" or "Stop me."
But like, read that book
which also then completely changes the context of the film, because then like is the whole again like don't send women to get your shit together, Billy. Like don't go into their house and make it their problem.
Right.
That's some big white man energy. It's some big white man energy to be like,
please
you need to fix me.
No, stop.
Yeah.
What are you doing to yourself?
Look what you made me do. And it's like, look, Chad. You're guilty of your own actions.
Yes.
We are not responsible for what you've done.
No.
Look, T-Swizzle, you did it to yourselves.
Right?
Whew. All right. Well, that's our thoughts on the original Black Christmas. Thank you so much, Midge, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
It
can't
was
wait to
excited
be
to,
back.
Yeah, I've been such a fan for like I've really like binged y'all recently, and I'm so like thrilled to even get the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back on sometime for sure.
Yeah. No, we got plans.
So that unfortunately is all of our Halloween 2021 celebration. We hope you all had fun. We all had a blast.
Yes.
These were two very different movies.
Weren't they though?
They
Both
were.
both unexpected. I'm happy the way it voted.
Yes, agreed. Next up, we are covering on Monday morning, bright and early, The Empty Man with Brother Ghoulish.
Yay! That's going to kick off our month of We Get By with a Little Help from Our Friends, where we purposely have a block of other horror podcasters and content creators scheduled, as opposed to just willy-nilly like we normally do. And they all picked a movie, and so it's the most random, chaotic month ever. And I'm excited for everybody to hear it because there is nothing other than chaos.
There's no through line, so don't even try it.
Nope.
Well, if you do try it,
I was gonna say,
because that could be really entertaining.
Make that a challenge to link all the movies together somehow under a theme.
It would be awesome. So I was like, 3 of them have the same camera woman, and I was like,
Bum bum bum.
All right, and thank you all again for watching / viewing. And as always, make sure you stay fierce out there.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!